and welcome to episode 6 of How to Be Unscammable. We're halfway through our 10-episode series designed to help older adults learn how to secure their digital lives. In this episode, I'll show you the easy ways to avoid falling victim to social hacking. Let's jump in. Hey everyone, my name is Linda Faucus and I'm the founder of Glue Society, a Canadian nonprofit that's helped thousands of older adults secure their digital lives. It's important we all learn the easy steps to secure our digital lives so we can use technology that's in our lives. It turns out that humans are generally the weakest link in any digital security chain. We fall for all kinds of manipulative tactics, and these tactics are referred to as social hacking or social engineering. But there's hope. A study found that just knowing about common scams and social hacking techniques can protect us from these types of attacks. So here is what you need to know about social hacking. Being alert to scams makes you harder to trick. So this step is to stay on top of the latest fraud prevention tips. Thankfully, there are some trustworthy places you can get this information. Here are a few to get you started, and I'm going to include a bunch more in the show notes at the end of the episode. There are 4 phases typically to a social hack. Phase 1 is when cybercriminals find a victim. They start by identifying potential victims online, often using social media to collect this information, or they buy it off the dark web. And once they know a little about you, they craft a perfect personalized attack. And this makes their scam seem legitimate, which is why we fall for them. In Canada, almost $381 million was lost to scams. And in the US, consumers lost more than $5.8 billion to fraud last year. These scams are working. Now in phase 2, they get you hooked. So armed with a way to contact you, they reach out and they try to hook you in. That's why it's called a phishing scam. And this can be done through an email, a text message, and maybe even calling you with offers that they hope that you're not going to refuse. And these offers take many forms. They're different styles of scams. Here's just a few of the most popular ones. The investment scams, the romance scams, the fake lottery winnings, the debt collection, the bonus tech support, the Nigerian prince. They're all still working. Now you might receive all of these scams in different forms. It's when you react to one of them that they use that to move on to the next phase of the scam. And that's the attack. Phase 3 is the attack. Once you're hooked, they start adding layers to the social hack. And they usually add urgency, like a ticking clock. They use flattery. They use fear. Those are common social hacking techniques. And this is when they trick you into clicking on something or giving up your personal information. Many of these scams are so good you might not even know you were scammed until it's too late. And then phase 4, they run and hide. This is the final phase. They will vanish, just leaving behind basically no evidence. And sadly, the average time to detect a cyber attack or a data breach is close to 200 days, and by then, the cyber criminals are long gone. So that's how the scams work. But now let's take a look at how you can stay away from them. Step 2. Social media scams are on the rise and they are highly effective. 91% of those people exposed to a social media scam engaged with it, and 53% of those people lost money. So this step is to remind you to be careful about social media scams on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So know who your social media friends are. Consider posting privately to keep your personal information away from cyber criminals, and do a security tune-up on each social media account you have to make sure your accounts are as secure as they can be. Step 3, understand phishing, smishing, and vishing attacks. Say that 3 times fast. There are many types of social hacking methods. I've included a description of the main ones in the show notes, but phishing attacks and their close cousins, smishing and vishing, are the most common. These type of attacks have increased more than tenfold in the past 3 years. And researchers have found that since COVID, we are 3 times more likely to click on a phishing link and give our credentials than we were pre-COVID. And that's probably why phishing-style email scams have surged 667% since COVID. A phishing attack is when a cybercriminal connects with you, usually through an email, to fish for information. They are hoping you're going to click on that link, the QR code, or the attachment in the message they provide, and then to get your personal information and credit card details is their ultimate goal. We just went through this previously in the episode. Now, these messages look identical to messages from trusted sources and organizations and people you know. It's hard to tell them apart. Now, smishing is just like phishing, but it uses a text message to trick you. This type of scam is on the rise, so watch out for those texts. Treat those suspicious texts as you would any suspicious email. Consider blocking the caller and deleting the text. Don't click on links in the text and never call them back. A vishing attack is the telephone equivalent of a phishing attack. Vishing is an old technique, like from the dark ages, from before the internet. This is when cybercriminals call victims and then they enter into a conversation. Sometimes they use information found online to make these conversations seem more authentic. And since cybercriminals know we are more likely to pick up calls from a local number, they'll spoof their line to make it look like a local call. Since it's important you know how these scams work so you can easily spot them, I'm going to give you 2 examples. 1. You get an email claiming to be from your bank that says your account password has been compromised and they need you to log in right away and change the password. This email looks legitimate and the message feels urgent. 2 key components to a good phishing scam. So you get worried. The time pressure noted in the email is making you start to kind of panic. So you quickly click on the included link or scan the QR code. And this takes you to a website that looks just like your bank website. You log in and reset your password, but the information wasn't sent to your bank. It's going directly to the cybercriminal. In this example, you get a message saying your device has been infected with virus or malware. You're told to click a link or call a number to get help removing the malware before your device is damaged or your data is threatened. As soon as you click on that link, the scammer secretly installs malware onto your device. The next thing you know, your entire home network is infected. You might also be redirected to a legitimate-looking web page where you're connected to a very helpful tech support person. They might ask permission to get onto your computer, let's say, to clean the malware off. And they might ask you to enter your credit card details to pay for the service. You could walk away from this transaction feeling like you received a legitimate service. But it's not until you check your credit card statement or your other accounts that you realize you were hacked. If you get one of these messages that looks like it's from a company you're doing business with, ignore the content of the message. Instead, look up their contact information yourself and contact them to find out if the message is legitimate. If this is not a company you're dealing with, ignore it. Move the message to your junk, mark it as spam, get on with your day. But definitely don't click on anything in the message, and whatever you do, don't give up your personal information to anyone. This step is pretty easy, but it might be hard for some of us. We know the way to not becoming a victim of a scam is to refuse to engage with the fraudsters. So this step is a reminder to get ready to hang up the phone. Don't click on the links, ignore those emails, delete that suspicious friend request. It's important you refuse to engage. Nearly 47% of those polled said they did not engage with a fraudster and they were therefore not duped. And in this step, I'm going to urge you to take a pause. We fall for scams more often when the person on the other end sounds official, and we fall hard when the scammer adds time pressure to that formal tone. This is when we lose money or we're most likely to give up our personal information. So this step is to be ready for those tricks. As soon as you recognize that time pressure trick, or you see they're trying to intimidate you, stop engaging. And definitely beware of flattery. That can suck us in as well. If this scam is happening through a phone call, don't provide any information, not even your name. Ask the name of the company they're calling from and then hang up. If this is a company you're doing business with, email or call that company back using contact details that you've verified yourself. Don't use any information the caller has given you. And just like before, if this is not a company you're dealing with, move on with your day. No reputable company is going to time pressure you into providing information. Another scam to be aware of is called email hijacking. This is when cybercriminals take control of someone's email account and then use it to scam that person's contacts. Email hijacking is on the rise, and it's a big problem. So this step is to be aware of email hijacking. And note that even when the sender appears to be someone you know, don't click on anything in their email until you verify the email is legitimate. You can't be sure that their email account wasn't hijacked. Now that might sound paranoid, but it's smart to check with your friends before opening links or downloading something from their messages. And when you're sending links or attachments, let your friends know so they can safely click on the links in your email. But do this over the phone or through another communication channel. This is a particularly difficult scam to spot. Pretexting is when cybercriminals pretend to be someone you trust. These scams are really convincing. You might encounter this scam through a combination of phone, email, text, and social media contact. A pretexting scam is when the hacker has spent a lot of time setting up the scam. They build trust and rapport with their potential victims. And after building trust, they convince the victim to divulge personal information, their passwords, their credit card details, to transfer them money. They use this information to break into your accounts, steal our identities, and more. So this step is to keep an eye out for pretexting scams. And it's also another reminder not to share your personally identifiable information, passwords, login details, anything over the phone, by email or text. A reminder again that no reputable company will ask you for this information. So just don't engage no matter how compelling they sound. The online dating market is huge. As of 2021, about 270 million people across the globe use dating apps, and 15% of those people are older adults. COVID also created a shift towards online dating as people try to find ways to feel less isolated. Dating apps like Tinder, Bumble, Silver Singles, and eHarmony help people connect. And since online dating is so popular, cybercriminals are connecting as well, and they're taking advantage of the people who use these platforms. According to the FTC, romance scams have nearly tripled in the past few years. In 2020, get this, U.S. victims lost around $304 million because of fake digital dates. In Canada, romance scams were the second highest scam. The most money lost was to investment scams, so you're going to watch out for those too. Because investment scams are pretty easy to spot, but they can be super compelling. They're often a form of pretexting, with the scammer building a rapport over many emails or calls. They're sharing a risk-free guaranteed investment with high returns, or hot tips that you have to act on now. These high-pressure tactics come into the scams, and they're often going to push you to make a quick decision, or you're going to lose out on this great opportunity. So if you're going to make an investment, get assistance from a reputable and qualified investment advisor. Consider showing that person the details of these email scams and make sure they're legitimate or not. The best way to deal with online, phone, or text messaging investment scams is to ignore them. Okay, that's a lot of information, so let's do a quick recap on each step in this episode. Know your scams. Stay on top of the latest fraud prevention tips. It's proven to keep you safer online. Limit what you share online. The more information you put out online, the easier it is for cybercriminals to scam you. Understand what phishing, smishing, and vishing scams look like so you can avoid them. The bottom line is don't click on any links or use any phone numbers provided in these messages, no matter how legitimate or compelling the message seems. If this is a company you're dealing with or you think you're dealing with, find a number to contact them and verify the email or the message. Get ready to be rude. The key to not getting scammed is to avoid engagement. The longer you stay on the call, the more communication you have with the scammer, the more likely you are to fall for the scam. Do not engage. And try not to get pressured. No reputable company is going to time pressure you into providing information. Keep an eye out for email hijacking. If that email from your friend seems a little odd, don't click on anything in it. Reach out to that person by another means to verify the email. Be aware of pre-texting scams that pretend to be from someone you know or you trust. Don't engage or fall for the time pressure element these scams often have. Reach out to that person by another means to verify the email if it seems to be coming from someone you know or a company you know. Watch out for online dating and investment scams. These scams are on the rise big time and are very lucrative for cyber criminals because they work. Links are included in the show notes to help you learn more about these scams. Keep your updates to social media private or be sparing with your public posts. Cybercriminals scrape public profiles and can use seemingly harmless information to lure us into a scam. Don't contact scammers who have emailed or called you asking to be removed from their lists. That is not going to happen, and it's probably a surefire way to get you added to more scam lists. And there's your quick lesson on social hacking. Social hacking techniques work, which is why cybercriminals use them. You can fight back and be unscammable by staying aware of the latest scams. Don't allow yourself to get pressured and don't click. If you're in doubt, reach out to someone you trust for help or use a second pair of eyes if you see any red flags. Up next is our episode on how to protect your identity. And in episode 8, you'll learn how to make sure your devices are unscammable. We'll see you in episode 7.